Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at another rank 1 in the world team, this time around for the Jungle Cup. Thanks to Connor here also for tagging me in this post, but yeah, congrats to you as well for hitting rank 1 in the world. There are actually currently 2 people at the exact same rating up top, and there's I think someone else below with like 1 less points, so like it's very close up top there, but this is currently the rank 1 in the world team, and so of course we have to try it out. There's a lot of spice coming out on this channel as well in the future for this cup, because there are a lot of very interesting options that you can run as well, which is going to be interesting. So definitely feel free to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Would really appreciate it. We're getting close to the 75,000 subscribers, so here we're going to see an interesting matchup actually, because Vigoroth has to shield once against the Ferrothorn, but then he can basically farm them down. Maybe I could have also went into my Altaria here, which would have been maybe a little bit better, but still we can get a ton of energy, which is going to be great. My game was very laggy right now, but it is what it is. We can still at least go ahead and go for some Rock Slides against the opponent's Skarmory, getting the shield back, which is amazing, still getting some damage back, which is going to be even better for us. And with this, we kind of seal the deal here, as we can try to go for the full farm down. We don't get it in, but we can Dragon Breath them down before they can go for a charge move, and the Venusaur has nowhere to go. Moving on to the next opponent, we're going to have a great lead here as the opponent swaps out into their own Steelix. Issue here is basically I kind of want to have them throw a charge move first, because for Vigoroth it is a decent matchup in general, but you kind of want to get them a little bit lower, and you cannot really throw any energy onto the opponent's Steelix, so you kind of just want to try to go for the full farm down here, which you're going to do, but it's still going to be a little bit of a tough one. And maybe I have to use a shield eventually, because they're gonna do quite some decent damage against me, but I can get a ton of energy here, which is going to be great for the late game. We will see here the opponent getting the crunch off, not going to get the knockout, but they're gonna get the drop of my defense, and they swap out themselves into their own Vigoroth. At this point, I can go ahead and go into my Altaria. Altaria does a ton of damage against them with the Dragon Breath. Altaria kinda the star of this team here, being a very solid Pokemon, but there is a team that is very common, at least in my elo range, which you're gonna most likely see later on as well, which you kind of have to talk about for this team and how to play this, because I definitely is something here, like this team is something that you have to play for a little bit to really understand every matchup and how you want to play against every Pokemon, because there are some tough teams for you, but here this is going to be a fairly easy one most likely, as the Psychic Fang is going to allow us to do way more damage with our fast move. Like look at the damage output here from the fast move, and we can even still reach another charge move here with our Steelix, knocking them out, basically winning the game already, as the Vigoroth has nowhere to go. We can just farm them down and win this game. Skarmory in the lead. Amazing lead for us. Again, this is kind of where we want to see it. They're gonna swap out into the Lantern. Lantern is a little bit of a trickier one. It's not a bad one at all, like for any of our Pokemon, but it is still something where I'd rather go ahead and chip them a little bit, get the defense drop, try to put them into range where just one Body Slam is going to be enough to knock them out, which would be great. We should still be able to survive another charge move here, but maybe like a Surf, but not really a Thunderbolt, but we're going to be able to get the Body Slam off, getting the shield. It was a CMP tie, but we can just realign anyway. Like there is no real harm for us to use a shield. We can go ahead, overfarm by a little bit, get off another Body Slam. They're most likely not going to use a shield at this one, and we can try to knock them out. In comes again the Skarmory. We cannot reach a Rock Slide, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we still do some very solid chip damage here with a Body Slam, which I'm happy about. So Steelix can hopefully win this game, but they're going to have a Quagsire in the back. And Quagsire can be a little bit of a trickier one. Quagsire is definitely, in my opinion, better than Whiscash in this meta, just because of the rock-type coverage. Maybe Whiscash with the move Blizzard might be interesting as well, just to counter those Altarias. Would be actually an interesting video, maybe. Do you want to see Whiscash with a Blizzard in this meta? Then let me know down below, but I feel like it would be an interesting Pokemon to use, especially like as a safe swap. Would be fun, I think. So here we're going to be able to go ahead and go for the Sky Attack. The opponent swaps back into the Skarmory, of course, as the final Pokemon, and I can just go into my Steelix. They're forced to go basically for 2 Brave Birds in order to knock me out. We have the Shadow variant here as well. You can use the normal variant. I'm actually a fan more of the normal variant than like the Shadow one, because you can see here already we take way more damage than the normal one would do, but it doesn't really matter in this case because we can farm them down with Dragon Breath anyway. So let's see what the next opponent going to have. And this is kind of what I want to talk about, and this is something that I kind of realized over a little bit of a longer period of time. Basically, if they have a Lantern in the lead, I would recommend you to try to play it out with your Steelix. Why would I do this? Like, your backline is kind of fine against it. Like, why would you decide to maybe stay in there even though you get like super effective damage against you from the Seraph? Basically, 90% of the leads that I saw with Lantern had a Pokemon in the back that you don't want to face with your Altaria, I have to say. And this is kind of the issue for this team, and this is still going to be a very tough one, even if you win the lead against Lantern, or if you want to play the lead out against the Lantern. It's still not going to be a simple game to play. And here the opponent can still go for the body slam spam. I don't really care too much about it. I can still try to keep my energy. And here I try to play accordingly because I expect a certain Pokemon in the back, and that's why I try to get some energy lead. If you might already guess what it is, you will see it is a Mantine. No, it's not really what I expected here in the back, but definitely Mantine going to be better. But I basically had 5 or 6 games, I think in total. I did like 4 sets with this team, so you definitely don't see all the battles here because it would be way too long, where the opponent had in the back the Obama Snow. And against Obama Snow, you're not going to have a great time with the Altaria. And so what I would recommend here, if you encounter a Lantern in the lead, it is most of the times just better to play it out. Here we were lucky to be able to catch an Ice Beam from the Mantine onto our Steelix, while we can even go for another charge move here. The opponent is going to let this move go through as they don't have shield left anyway. We will see them going into most likely the Lantern, which they swap out into the Vigoroth as well, which is kind of great. They have to go for a charge move. And we're still going to have our Altaria, which I think is going to be fine. We have to reach 1 Sky Attack. This is all we take, and yes, it's going to be enough for us to win this game. But again, if it would be an Obama Snow in the back, which was very, very common, it would be different. Next opponent, Steelix in the lead. This is going to be a very interesting one as well. You definitely kind of like this one. Like, sometimes I like to go for the Psychic Fangs bait for the first one, because at the end of the day you have to hit 2 charge moves anyway and go for 3 charge moves total. And with Psychic Fangs bait, basically you're going to have a very cheap one first, but also you would be able to get a guaranteed drop of the opponent's defense. Here we don't see a drop of the defense for either. If one gets a drop, basically they win the lead matchup, but here we're gonna see as well, we can see the crunch coming through. We still survive with like 1 HP, we can go for our own crunch. The opponent is going to be able to survive it also with 1 HP, and we got the defense drop, which doesn't matter, but at least we can hopefully align ourselves correct. Let's see here, the opponent is gonna go ahead and go into their own Altaria, and I think we had a little bit of lag there in the beginning, and we're gonna see here, I can go for the Sky Attack, and I'm going to be first compared to the opponent, but we should have a very neutral matchup here. The opponent actually going to be in a CMP tie, so we're at the exact same speed here as well. As you can see, basically we have the same health as well, and I think I lagged somewhere because they can farm me down before I can even, like, I would have not even knocked them out, I think, with another Dragon Breath, and I don't really know how this worked because my IVs are pretty much perfect, and there is no breakpoint for Altaria in the Altaria mirror, so not too sure how this really happened, but this is going to be a huge deal, because otherwise we would have a great time now, because the opponent would have went down as well most likely, or like basically there would have been no energy on the opponent either, and like this, the opponent has a ton of energy on the Altaria, they're still alive, and basically if we would have went down at the same time, which would have been the normal case, we would have been definitely fine here winning this game with a Vigoroth, because we win this in the, this scenario basically here, in the 1 shields, but they still have a charge move stored, and with this they're going to win the game. Don't know how this worked, but we can move on to the next opponent. Mantine lead, very good for us, but again, like, if Mantine has Ice Beam, is great. If they have not the Ice Beam, that would be a little bit tricky, but honestly, basically, if they have Water Pulse, you can swap out afterwards, because you're going to be better off anyway with your Altaria then. If they have Ice Beam, which we had here again, we can just stay in and try to play out the matchup. Usually you win this as a Steelix, like, there's nothing the opponent can really do here to win this for themselves, because you just do so much damage with your fast move alone, and with a debuff on them, it is just very easy to just farm them down here. As we can see, they can still get to another Ice Beam, get us pretty low, but we still were able to survive, and I decided to stay in here because I thought it would be better for me to just go into my Altaria and go for the full farm down against the Sableye. I'm still have to be a little bit careful here because they have access to the move Power Gem, which is a super effective move, which only really the Shadow variant is running, because the normal variant rather goes for the return. But as you can see, I can still just go for another shield and just try to go for the full farm down, which is hopefully the best play for me, as they're going to be insanely low. They have a Runerigus in their back. And LilyNiRiain is a cool Pokemon. You already maybe saw my video about Palossand, which got me to Expert, which I posted yesterday. But here's the thing, they let the move go through, which is very important for me because now they basically have a very low HP stat. And here they're running Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb is a way to go in this meta because Rock Tomb allows you to beat the Vigoroth way easier and also drops the attack guaranteed against like every opponent. And honestly, like LilyNiRiain is a cool Pokemon to play. I might actually take a look at this Pokemon as well again, just because this thing is just very cool with the coverage it has. Like Shadow Ball, basically it's everything. Basically Rock Tomb helps you out against the Vigoroth. It's just a very good Pokemon right now. Here we can still knock out the opponent's Sableye, which is very important. This is going to be great for us because now they're still going to have to deal with the Altaria and we can win this game. Next opponent, we're going to have a great lead. We definitely like this one a lot. But here make a mistake, I guess. Quagsire as a Say-Swap usually has something like a Whiscash in the back, and if they have a Whiscash in the back, there's going to be a very tricky matchup. But here the Quagsire has access to Stone Edge, which is a very tough one for us to deal with. They're going to decide to use a Shield here on our Charge move. We still should hopefully be fine in the 2-shield scenario just because of the insane amount of damage we do with Dragon Breath, and we can still take a Stone Edge anyway, especially as we shield up all of them. But still not really a clear one, and they let the move go through anyway. And you can see me here swapping into my Vigoroth, and this is because I predicted the Whiscash in the back. And for whatever reason the opponent decided to swap out of here, which is great for us, but we will take this as they know as well this game is over and we can move on to the next opponent. Here we're going to see basically what I mean as well. Again, Lantern in the lead. I would recommend you to try to play this one out now. I think I tried to do it here as well because I just had like so many battles, most likely somewhere in between, where I had the Abomasnow lay down against my Altaria, and I just did not really want to have that. And so I tried my best to align myself here against the opponent's Lantern, and I think in the 2-shield scenario, if you go for Psychic Fangs, I think you're always going to be able to win this. But here the opponent decides to swap out into the Vigoroth anyway. And so we can now drop the defense and we can swap immediately into Altaria, and my goal here is to get energy because energy is kinda key, but it's still going to be a little bit of a trickier one as the opponent can go for the rock sides pretty fast. They can still try to go for maybe a Sky Attack before they can go for another one, but I expect that they have the Abomasnow in the back, but at least we would still have our Vigoroth. And yes, I was correct with this, and this is like the thing as well, like this is just like such a common team right now, like Lantern, Vigoroth and Abomasnow is literally everywhere against me currently, and so I kinda have to try to hope that I still get a move off. I'm forced to let this move go through as well, but actually I used a shield here, which I don't think is a correct play. Maybe? No, it is not. It's definitely not the correct play. I should have not done this, most likely. But they let the move go through as well, and this maybe gives me still a chance to go for a Psychic Fangs here, but I think it was definitely a mistake to go for the shield. But I don't think I would have won anyway, so here we're gonna see the drop is still kinda mattering, as we can get them kinda low, but we have to hope that we can fully farm them down with counter, and we can't by 1 HP. If I went for a Body Slam, I maybe actually would have won, because the shield still takes 1 HP off you. Would have been most likely the play, but it is what it is. But yeah, be careful against like Lantern leads. Like I would recommend you to just stay in with the Steelix and try to align yourself, because otherwise you're going to have some trouble against the Abomasnows that are usually lurking in the back. Here we're going to encounter the lead of, not the lead, it was actually the lead of the Whiscash, which is going to be a little bit of an interesting one. Here we have to go for the bait kinda against the Charizard. They know that we have Rock Slide, so they are still letting this move go through. Why? Like literally, why? They're gonna go for the Blast Burn, which is kind of predictable because like there's no reason not to do that. And we can go for another Body Slam. Hopefully we're gonna knock them out. That would be great because we could realign, but they don't allow us to do this. And so they're forced to go for another Blast Burn here, which kind of leaves them energy dry. And so I can go into my Steelix again, and I can hope that my Altaria wins this game for us. But it's going to be a tough one because we have to see what they have in the back first. They're gonna go into their Guzzlord. Guzzlord has some potential for us to still win. It's still going to be tough, definitely. The Dragon Claw is coming through. We can go for our own Sky Attack. Do they use a shield here? Do they not use a shield? We will find out shortly. They decide to not use a shield, and I'm not too sure if this was the correct call here, because look at the HP of Whiscash. They're still forced to go for a Mud Bomb here to knock me out, but we have Dragon Tail damage, and Dragon Tail damage is kinda nice, as we can see here, and so we can win this final battle of today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate a like, and if you would subscribe. Check out the video on the screen right now, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.